Welcome, guys. My name's Steve Grant. I'm a gym owner in Sydney. I've got a brand called Rush Cutters Health. We've been there for 8 years. We were fortunate enough to win Best Fitness Facility in Sydney in 2024. And I love fitness. So I've been also for the last 10 years helping other gyms through a company called Gym Hub. One of my favorite things to do every month is interview someone that's doing really, really well. And it's my honor to introduce you to or reintroduce you guys to Cameron Russell. Cameron, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Steve. Nice to be here.
Cameron, we've known each other for years. I want to say back to was ACPE or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah. You're my uni lecturer.
Geez, that makes me feel old. I did PE teaching at uni and then ended up going into gyms and we've sort of gone down a similar sort of route. So yeah, really excited to have you on the call today. When I bumped into you in Newcastle, you're saying that you've now had your Snap Fitness, like 24-hour franchise brand there for about 13 years, and
Yeah.
things are really going well. But what were you doing sort of prior to that? Any other sport involvement in sports or any sort of background in customer service or anything like that?
Yeah, so when we met, I was doing sports coaching management at uni. So I studied that. Then I went into strength and conditioning. I ended up working with the Manly Seagulls, doing strength and conditioning for the rugby league team. And then from there, I went overseas. I lived in London for 3 years. And then I was managing and running really high-end boutique personal training studios over there. So we had some really high-end clients who I had no idea who they were. And I think that's why we got along really well because I just treated them like anyone else. And then, yeah, coming back to Australia after 3 years over there, I was looking for my own thing. And that's when the 24-hour gyms actually really opened up. So I actually joined an Anytime Fitness. It was across the road from me. And then I started looking into both models and I loved what the guys, yeah, and the leaders who were at the helm then were doing with Snap. So then I signed on and here we are 13 years later.
I love it. I'm sure there's some crossover from some of those skills in coaching, like athletes, or potentially even providing like a five-star service in a boutique PT studio that serve you well in your current role. But I'm always curious to hear what people were sort of doing prior to coming along. For those people that maybe haven't had too much exposure to Snap Fitness, what sort of services do you guys provide?
We're the 24-hour franchise. So 24-hour, obviously, access, which is the biggest selling point that we started with. But as all gyms are, I think it's the small points. We have some group training offerings, and we also have personal trainers, which is a big part of the retention piece for us. So we've got 4 personal trainers here, which has been great. So just all round, we're in a very what do you call it? Tradie style mining shift working area. So the 24/7 works really, really well. But really, it's just people want to train in a nice, clean environment, feel safe, secure, and everyone loves if you know their name. So that's the simplicity of our model.
I think the location probably gives it some small town feel, but I feel like people want that in the middle of the city in different places around Australia and New Zealand as well. Can I ask, what did you mean by retention? How do you think having personal trainers getting around in a snap shirt helps retention?
Well, I think it's because we're staffed or our management is only here from 9 till 6 or roughly those business hours. The personal trainers with the snap shirt on are here, from 5 in the morning through till 7, maybe 8 o'clock at night. And it just gives the gym a presence of someone's around, there's ownership there. They can help people if they need, but generally they are obviously just working with their clients, but it's also just visibility. If you've got staff there, there's always some around. It also helps the atmosphere too.
It probably feels safer if you're a beginner and you're not quite sure how to use like a glute bridge machine that's sort of popped into popularity in the last couple of years or something. You're probably going to YouTube or you're just lost and you're doing it sort of the wrong way. So it's probably helpful to have a bit of experience getting around the gym.
Yeah, and I think they feel safe, and it's like they could ask you questions, or they see a trainer using the glute bridge machine or a machine they don't know. They'll either watch it, they'll watch the trainer, and then go and use it themselves when they feel like no one's watching. It's familiarity too that I think members like. If they get shown how to use the machine once, they then know it. But it's just the uncertainty, especially with some of the demographic, either the newbies, the fitness newbies, or the elderly, people who haven't been to the gym for years. Getting them comfortable I think comfortable is the big thing. If they can get comfortable in the environment, they're more likely to come back and stay.
Yeah, good. And I'm assuming you do like a rental model. You charge your trainers, a couple of $100 a week or something, and they will manage their own database and sort of, you're probably trying to get people that have had a little bit of experience, like coming through the doors.
Yeah, and that's the hardest thing I find is finding trainers with experience to come to you and then get them to buy into what you're offering here. And there's plenty of green or raw trainers out there, and that's what I've probably come to learn over the last 13 years is if you can find the right personality in those individual raw people, you can willing to put in the time to get them to trained up and teach them how how you like to do things, but also what the industry needs, because they don't really get any sort of business training from their Cert 3, Cert 4 courses. So they think they can come out and charge $100 an hour and they don't know how to do a sales conversation or even, message a client after they've inquired or someone who's interested in it. So that's a big piece that I look at too. It's like, okay, well, if we can get a great personality or the right person, we can then spend the time to mold them into someone in, 3 or 4 months' time that could be good.
Yeah, I often talk about this with our Gym Hub members that have personal training as an offering that you want people that sort of have enough experience where you're not doing too much hand holding and it's hopefully not their first job and they're not sort of learning life skills and sort of just getting dressed and getting in the door at 6 a.m. At the same time, you sort of need them coachable and like willing to play well with others because even though they're sort of running their own business inside of yours, if they're not really with like the culture or they're critical of other trainers and stuff on the gym floor, it does create a little bit of a little bit of resistance and stuff, a little bit of a shit atmosphere.
Yeah, I think if they're coachable and they've got a good personality, you're willing to put their time in. But it's so hard if you can get someone who's been somewhere else for 12 months or 2 years to then come to you, it makes it a lot easier. I find the better options is someone who might have gone to one of the group trainings, the F45s or whatever, who's been an instructor there, but want to
Okay.
take that next step because they've got a little bit of experience, they've got their way they've been doing it, but then to transition into one-on-one is it's a little bit easier and a little bit faster because they can communicate to one to many, but then having that personal way. So yeah, I think the recruitment piece and finding the right people is a huge thing.
For you being a bit out of like the city, do you find it harder to get employees?
Yeah, I find it harder to get good people with that experience. I just find I have to look on now personality and coachability, and am I willing to put in, time 3 or 4 months to get them in through the system? And you do have to handhold them. I think probably the biggest thing in our industry is, okay, you're Cert 3, Cert 4 qualified. Surely you know how to go and do a one-on-one session, and sure you know how to do a small group training session and that. And I think we probably let them go too quickly, or we don't teach them and handhold them. Okay, this is what you got to do. This is the
Mm.
next step. This is step 3. This is step 4. We probably let them go too quickly, and that's why they kind of get swallowed up, especially in the bigger gyms, or they don't have the support. So yeah.
Yeah, I can remember having people that are sort of at TAFE doing sort of Cert 3 or 4, and they're probably a few months away from doing their course, but it's not a bad time to actually get them involved, give them a bit of practical experience. Maybe they've got to fill out their logbook, whatever. You're not actually paying them to see what they're like, with your members. And the number that are actually qualified that are an 8 out of 10 that live near your gym, they're kind of slim pickings, huh?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I
Yeah.
think I think you got to be looking at sporting teams. You got to be looking at like someone that's just out in customer service. It's amazing. And they're like, hey, would you ever? You look fit. Do you train? Would you be interested in doing something? I've sort of had to be a little bit more proactive sometimes in getting a few people through the door.
Yeah, and it's kind of hard, but I think in the last year, 2 out of our cracking trainers have been gym members. So they've
Mm,
taken that transition through. And again, it takes them a while to go from being a member into coaching other clients. in that sense. So, but if you're willing to put in the time or give them the time to develop that skill, it's definitely paid off. And then we've still got one now who's been here, I don't know, about 8 years, and she started the exact same way. She was, pouring coffees to start with. She was a barista, and then, she's slowly transitioned. She went from that to a little bit of PT to part-time baristering, part-time PT, and then full-time. And, I'm more proud of that. Like, she's gone through that whole journey, and now she's, full-time PT, huge business, bought her own home, gone on maternity leave, come back from maternity leave, now
Yeah,
still
well,
here, and still got a thriving business. So it's quite nice to see the progression of the trainers too.
it's. I saw one of a trainer from our first gym recently. She used to babysit my daughter, and she's now got her own family. It's it is pretty cool that you can sort of create those relationships and like career opportunities. I think a lot of people maybe do what their parents did, or they come out and try something. They get stuck in an industry or profession that doesn't really light them up and doesn't really allow them to do something that they want to get better at.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool if you can, create opportunities for others.
Yeah, I
Um,
think for also satisfaction if you can take someone on that journey, that someone who's not done that and that they hit milestones. But it comes down to the conversations you have with your team or your staff. Is like, hey, what do you want to actually do? Not in just in your business goals, but in personal life, and see how you can kind of take them on that journey to buy their first home or buy a car or invest into something or have a baby and then come back and still be able to
mm,
have a career in this industry.
yeah, I love it. I'd be interested for you to give those that you don't know on the call probably a little bit of background. Like, tell us a bit about your Snap Fitness journey. Are there sort of maybe two or three achievements, things that you're personally proud of, things that have gone your way in the 13 years you've been doing it?
Yeah, we've few milestones there. I think I like the fact we've won awards. We've won Community Club Year Awards, I think 2 or 3 times. For the gym, we've had trainers here who've won Personal Trainer of the Year. Chris will love this one, Steve, that I won the President's Award, which is the big award for the Snap Fitness Network, from the CEO who's on the call at the moment. Thanks, Chris. Those ones, personally are great milestones. But I think what I feel more fondly of is mentioning taking team members or staff members through their journey. If they can then go and buy their first home, have their first baby, come back to work after that. Hitting the milestones for the staff is more self-pleasing for me. Obviously, having a great business is nice, but seeing them on the journey and having, we've had trainers for 8 years and 7 years, and we've still got one for 8 years, and, managers for 5 years, taking them on the journey and helping them get to where they want to go, which is probably more self-satisfying for myself in regards to achievements.
Yeah, it definitely feels like there's a relationship between your longevity in the industry, 13 years, still enjoying it. You've got 1,300 plus members, but you've also got a bit of a life outside of, running a business, which is sometimes difficult to even imagine. I know we've got some new gym owners like Raj on the call, or people that have been in the industry for a while and they're still doing like 60, 80-hour weeks. There seems to be a relationship between your longevity, if you manage to help your staff have a little bit of longevity. So I love that you sort of I touched on that. Let me ask, like, if for Snap Fitness, it's one of the like top performing businesses there with like strong membership base, and they're a loyal membership base. Why do you think, if there's other gyms maybe on the call and they're still struggling around break even, what are things do you think that your facility is doing particularly well that helps us to succeed? The goal being that we can all succeed and we can all help more people get fit and healthy and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think it's nice now. I'm 13 years in and work X amount of hours or whatever. But if I'm Raj, the first 2 years I was doing those huge weeks where you have to get in the grind, you have to do the big hours to be able to set yourself up. But you've got to get help along the way in regards to how do I get myself from working 5 days a week or 6 days a week down to four. I know you've always spoken about that, Steve, where you can have Friday off and work on the business and scaling yourself. So getting some sort of mentor or some sort of advice around that and working towards and setting some milestones. I probably would be guilty of over the time of I wanted to race to get to 1,000 members, and that was my big goal. in 12 months to then hit it. But also, if you want to grow by 50 members, is if you do that, really enjoy that little milestone. Set yourself and take yourself out for dinner or buy something you want or whatever. Go and hit those little milestones and actually sit back and enjoy it. Because you get to 1,000 members, you want 1,100 members. You get to 1,100, you want 1,200. If you don't sit back and enjoy it, you actually don't. You
don't
don't
ever
actually,
celebrate. Yeah.
yeah, you never celebrate and do that. So I think you've got to work hard to start with, and you've got to get good advice. But I think it's really the 1%ers. If your staff and you can do those 1% as well, every member gets said hello to. We have a goal in here that every member, gets said hello to by 2 different people. It could be the staff member and a PT. It's clean and tidy gym. It's trying to know the members' names. It's just touching base and seeing how you can help with those guys. Everyone understanding that everyone has different goals. Coming to the gym once a week might be someone's goal, and coming to the gym 5 times a week might be someone else's goal. But just understanding that that's okay and encouraging what they're doing and a little bit more along the way. So I think it is. I really, and this is the thing that I harp down on our guys all the time, is just remember the 1%ers. Get the people to put their weights away. Get the people, to use a towel the whole time. And then when you've got small little actions daily, that really combines and compounds over time. And the atmosphere slowly changes. And then when you've got a great atmosphere, everyone walks in well. And then when you've got a good atmosphere, you get more referrals. Everyone speaks well and highly of the gym, and they want to come down and check it out. So, yeah, I would say I'll just peel back everything and say it's not a marketing campaign, it's not a sales tactic, it's not whatever. Start with those 1%ers, and then build on the back of those.
And interestingly, your answer didn't involve spending 100 grand on a cold plunge and a sauna. It wasn't necessarily having the latest and greatest equipment, because you're definitely going to have those people in the market. You'll have a crunch open around the corner that's $5 a week, and there's always someone with like a newer piece of equipment or maybe a sort of lower price point. But it sounds like a lot of the differentiators between barely breaking even to thriving is a lot of it's kind of service based.
Yeah, 100%. I think we're in the service-based industry, and it's like how you feel. I know if you go to a coffee shop and you go to coffee shop A, they know your name. It's like, hey, Steve, good to see you again. Happy, good morning. Is another cappuccino, versus the one up the road, coffee shop B, where you just go in, order it, and they don't say anything to you and go. You're always going to go back to the place that makes you feel good when you either come in or leave or whatever. We always know that members feel great when they leave after a session, but it's those small things that we can do in between that. And let's face it, the gyms are gyms. We have treadmills, dumbbells, weight racks,
Same toys. Yeah.
Same toys. It's just how you make the member feel and your ideal client, getting clearer on that. If you want someone you can even say to them, look, if you're looking for the cheapest, don't worry about coming here. But if you want somewhere that's going to take care of you and look after you and, actually care about you and clean and safe environment, that's it. I think people would pay more to be in a clean, safe, environment than they would to get a crunch membership.
Well, what would you say to someone? I spoke to a gym owner a couple of hours ago who said that when he's in the gym, he really likes those touch points and he likes the high service, and he's come from a bit of a customer service background. But when he's not there, he notices that like the gym's dirty and the music goes to techno, and he said the wheels kind of fall off a little bit. You've obviously managed to find a manager and someone that sort of perhaps is able to continue on that same sort of culture. Why do you think it continues at your gym and maybe sort of stops when the owner leaves in this other business?
I think I invest more time. Well, I invest a lot of time into our guys here. I'll sit down and spend time, if it's once a week getting a coffee, if it's once a month having a one-on-one meeting with all the guys, the trainers and the staff. And it's also we do a fortnightly team meeting, and I just remind them, guys, this is what we're doing, why we're doing it, what we want to achieve. And I also get their input, and they say, yeah, we love the clean environment. We love people using towels or putting their weights away. So it's not always just coming from me. I'm just reminding them of what they say and they like, and say, okay, we need to take this. If we lead by example, it's going to flow through into the gym. And if you pull someone up for walking away from the leg press with all the weights on it, other members will see, and that speaks volumes. And they say, okay, there's respect there. And no one likes to be singled out. And it's like, feel free to single that person out if they've walked away and call them back saying, hey, have you finished? Yeah, cool. and the members appreciate that more. So I think it does. You've got to spend the time with your own staff or team to get them on the same page and just explain to them why you're doing it and what you want, and what your expectations are. I think a lot of
Yeah.
people have, what's the saying? The unspoken expectations are the biggest form of disappointment. So you've got to speak to them your expectations and the expectations of the business in the gym to then get them and listen to their expectations too.
And they're sort of following your lead, like as much as you can form checklists and KPIs, and you hope that they're going to follow from A through to Z during the week. They do notice how you greet people. They notice how things look and feel when you're sort of in there. And I think we're really good in the fitness industry at seeing something and replicating it. Like I use the example of like a power clean or some type of Olympic lift. Like if you're trying to learn it out of a textbook, it actually feels a bit complicated. But if you watch someone sort of break it down, you go, I could probably do that. You could probably do it in the next 20 minutes to some degree. And then it's trying to, get a little bit better. So, yeah, I love that you're in there. You're actually leading by example. I think sometimes we can be in a bit of a rush to remove ourselves a bit too early before those kind of best practice has been demonstrated and then replicated.
Yeah, and it's just the fact of, or even asking a new person or a new staff member, hey, do you feel comfortable going up and introducing yourself to a member? They're like, oh yeah, yeah, and then you get them to go and do it, and they kind of balk. It's like, well, I believe you should go first. It's like, I'll do it, we'll do it together, and then you do it. So it's I go, we go, you go. And that's how I kind of look at training anything in the gym. But it's like, I'm happy to go up and show them how. I'll just introduce myself, and then I'll take them with me to a new member and say, hey, I just want to introduce ourselves. I'm Cameron. This is Steve. Nice to meet you, blah, blah, blah. And then obviously get them to go and do it. So once I've shown them, I can then have trust that they know what to do. I can't just expect them what to do.
Yeah, and like I think of horrific examples like in sales where you can send a rookie trainer out there to do outreach and they're out at the bus stop and they haven't got any idea. They haven't watched anyone with experience do it. And they come in and they're like, I hate this job. They don't last for long. I remember at Fitness First, the turnover used to be like 3 months in sales because they had these crazy expectations, not a lot of training.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's good.
I think we let ourselves down as business owners that we don't train enough on those simple tasks. It's like, go and hand out flyers. Well, what does that look like in your own mind? How should they be doing, or what should they be doing? But if they haven't seen it or learnt it or been trained, they have. That's where we let ourselves down to fail our staff members, is why they don't hang around or they quit or they don't know what to do or it doesn't work.
Cameron, if you went back to a point where you were brand new opening Snap, or even a point where like membership growth stalled, maybe there was a point where you got to 500 members, you just stuck there, and you'd add some, you'd lose some, you'd add some, you'd lose some. What do you think was the skill gap you might have been missing? What were some of those things you spoke about before that you probably had to grow and sort of learn stuff along the way? Is there anything that sort of stands out you think that's helped you to jump the void?
Yeah, I think it comes down back to me, and like you get yourself to a certain point and you can do that skill, but then you don't believe you can get to the next one. Or it's like your own techniques or ability kind of stops there, where then you have to go and speak to another, gym owner has 1,800 members, or another, manager, or hey, where are you going? We're kind of getting stuck here. We're signing up 50, losing 50, signing up 50, losing 50. Can you come in and have a look at what we're doing, or have a look at what we've got, and then being able to reach out. Really, I think it's asking for help. It's asking for help or seeing what other people who are doing and how they're doing it, and can I bring that into my gym? And it could be as simple as, looking a little bit at retention, and then you're saving 10 members, and now all of a sudden you're signing up 50 but losing 40. So there starts your growth. So I think it is. I think I've always got in my own way, like this is how we should do it. But then taking a look back and going, hey, can I get someone else to look at what we're doing and how you can improve it? Because you'll always go into the gym and look at everything that you like to look at, but you're missing,
Yep.
the cobweb in the corner because you never look up there. Or another person sees this way. So I think it's asking for help and say, or even just getting someone else's perspective on what you're doing and how you're doing it. Not,
Yeah,
not being afraid to ask for help either.
yeah, it's sometimes a bit of a pride thing. Like you've been doing it for a while and you're doing big hours and yeah, it can, I think sometimes. be a bit of a sobering experience just to put yourself out there. You feel a bit vulnerable saying, "Hey, what are your thoughts on this?" But whenever we've sort of been to those fitness conferences, I bump into you, or we're jumping on seminars, I compliment everyone who's on the call today because I think it gives us the opportunity to all get better. And it's, yeah, like you look at statistics in Australia, I don't know that we're sort of hitting more than 20% of the population in terms of fitness. And there is so much opportunity for us to have more impact. But we probably have to get better as an industry. We probably have to look for opportunities to avoid just going through the motions and repeating the same year we had last year.
And you can be brave too. You can even go out to your members and saying, guys, what's one thing you think we could do better?
Mm.
How could we improve? What's a small thing you think we can do? And then you'll get good, honest feedback from the members. And, some of them will say, put a rooftop pool in, or someone will say, get, you know, whatever, a 25-meter pool. But the actual other nuggets that you get is great feedback for you. And it just depends on how you take feedback. If you can't take feedback yourself, how are you expecting your staff to take all that on and obviously go?
Yeah, I think the limiting beliefs I've had or the sort of skill deficiencies tend to be replicated in our team. If I've got a manager or trainers or something that work as part of my gym, they generally have the same deficiencies, the same challenges with, if I'm not great at retention or chatting to someone, having an awkward conversation, if their billings default or whatever, I find that's the same thing that sort of passes down. So you can't
Yeah.
really avoid it, can you? You've got to
No,
find
you
a
got
way
to
to
find.
bridge the gap.
And your belief might be, signing up 60 members a month is good, and that's really the capacity for, the manager or the team. But you get someone else's view who has it's coming, we could definitely do 90 to 100 here. And that's
Yeah.
just their belief. And that's just say, hey, all I want to do is just change this and this, and we'll kind of shorten that and then see what happens. So, yeah, your own limiting belief is a big thing, but also getting someone else's perspective is another big thing.
You've done 13 years in the industry. You've probably got people on the call that have done a lot of time. Um, I know, Rich, you've been in the industry for a while. Um, for those that want longevity without necessarily all the stress and the divorce and the maybe depression and stuff that comes from small business, sometimes it's hard. Any tips for longevity? What do you seem to have a
Yeah,
nice little balance at the moment?
yeah, I think it's remembering why you started the gym, the studio, whatever yours is. It's like why you started in the industry. It's probably
Mm,
having a genuine care for people, the fitness industry, and all that. And if you still have that, I think that is the most important thing. I mean, what could I go and do? I don't know what else I'll do outside of this that I'd enjoy just as much. You know, I do enjoy running the business. I enjoy making money, but I think that's where I've, hit hurdles in the past is actually I've actually forgotten why I started this and actually caring for the members and, putting them first and doing the small things for the gym. And then the total numbers of the members helps itself. The total income that you get helps itself.
mm,
But genuinely having the passion and seeing why you want to do it. And it might be a passion for business, not so much the fitness industry, but you've got to, break it down into, okay, this is a service-based business. How can I have a five-star service within this? And if I've got a five-star service, I can charge, five-star prices and get a return on my investment.
mm. It's we're a little bit just on halfway in our session. I've been a little bit greedy, hogging the mic and asking Cameron. I got a bunch of questions that I'm curious on, but I want to invite our guests, everyone that's sort of logged in today, to go into the chat. If you have a specific question relating to your gym, something that maybe Cameron or myself have experience please feel free to go into the chat, and we'll do our best to give you a hand. Cameron, we did touch on while we're waiting for those questions. We did touch on staffing. Like where do you find most of your staff? You said you had some of them that were like members of the gym. What about other staff? Where are you getting them from?
Yeah, I've ran CCADs as well, which is semi-effective. I've also just met people in passing on, their personality. They might be in the fitness industry, they might be just outside of that. And I always just have the conversation with them. Hey, would you ever, I'd love to have you, part of the team, or have you ever thought about going in this way? And then putting that idea in their head, that's more the long-term play, really, because it can take a while for people to really, really want to change. But even, yeah, obviously members is a great way, but just having conversations with them. Have you thought about, obviously you're very interested, you train well. Have you thought about going into this fitness industry, or what are what are you doing at the moment to do that?
Yep.
And then also just asking for referrals. Hey, who do you think would be good in this industry? And do you have any, recommendations? And
Yep.
the roundabout way is, putting a post out, or, an email out saying, hey, who do you know would be a great fit for our team?
Hmm.
And they either think themselves, or they might know someone. So they'll go and say, oh, you should go and talk to this, or they'll go and tell that person that we're looking for someone. Yeah, so it's hard, because it's like, if you lose a trainer, roundabouts, you will lose a trainer. It's like, how do you replace them? When do you replace them? And it's got to be the right fit. And how do you go out about that in, asking the members, out there, or if it's like, or even on social media, or if it's going and doing a CCAD. I think yeah, I think recruitment's one of the hardest ones to recruit. Good people is one of the hardest ones to try and nail. And everyone wants great people in their business, but also trying to look left field. Mm.
Yeah, it's hard because it is your baby and you want to be a little bit picky, a little bit
Mm.
selfish in sort of who you bring in. And there's nothing worse than if you look across the gym floor, someone's got the same jersey on and you're just kind of scratching your head going, what is this person doing? Um, because you just know it's not a good fit.
Mm.
Um, so I think, ads like Seek, they probably set you back like $500
Yeah.
to get started. So if you can incentivize your staff, if they've done a course with 20 other trainers that are in the local area, there might be an opportunity to incentivize them or thank them financially, buy them a gift card or something.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, referrals are kind of cool because if I often say, is this person a good fit for us? Like, what's your experience with them? And they might know them from the course, but they also know that they're a, party boy and they're a problem in their last job. And they're like, I've had staff not send friends in as well because they're just like, you
Yeah.
know what, it's probably not the fit that we're going for.
Yeah, I think and also being clear on what you're after. Like, this has to be a right fit for us, but what does that right fit look like? You've got to be coachable, they've got to be personality, they've got to be able to get up at 5 a.m. They've got to be reliant, they've got to be able to be self-sufficient as well. So setting those expectations of what you're looking for out there before you go through, because you could really want someone to be great, but if they don't have that choice, or they're not coachable your way, what's the
Hmm.
point? If, yeah, hire slow, fire fast, but when you're stuck, sometimes we do just jump in and hire someone. And I think, yeah, I think also we probably expect too much from new staff too early. I don't think we take them through and give them enough time to develop the skills and kind of do it within the boundaries of our way, and then also have their own personality fly through.
Yeah, I'm advertising at the moment for a trainer. We hired one that started this week, and we're looking for another. And to your point, when you're desperate, it's the worst time to hire because you reduce your
Yeah.
standards. It's like normally we want them to live this close, and we want them to have many months or years of experience, and all of a sudden you start putting crosses through these things because you can't find that person. It never ends well. And I think something I'm conscious of now is that yes, hopefully there's a good recruit that'll sort of join our team from the current ad, but there's probably another 20 resumes that you sort of file away that you stay in contact
Mm.
with because you just don't want to be in that position where you got to start from scratch. So it's always keeping an eye out for talent, whether it's at the
Yeah.
local cafe or whether it's kind of building that database up and just keeping them in the loop that maybe they can reapply 6 months later when they get a bit more experience.
Well, I always find that you find the good applicants that, you've just hired a new trainer, so you filled that void, and then someone comes in 3 weeks later or a month later and they're good. You've got to be able to file those guys away and just keep in touch with them and see what they're doing, as well. And they might be doing something else, or you might have a great applicant who doesn't take the role, but following up with them in, 3 months or 6 months or 12 months can also swings about. They might not be happy where they are.
Yeah. Um, Good question here. Michael, I think it's got a Snap Fitness as well. I've got Michael registered Chelsea Heights. Are you paying your staff award wage? How do you determine things like bonuses and KPIs for a manager?
Yeah, cool. No, we pay him under. No, we don't. The award wage. No, I think rewarding your staff financially well is super important because if you want to get into a competitive, landscape, you can, but I'd rather overpay them or pay them really well and reward them on what they're doing because, from what the fitness industry, award wage isn't a great deal. They're not really setting themselves up for everything. It's a good stepping stone, but paying. I agree with paying overs. I definitely pay overs. I think my manager's from probably one of the highest, but he's been here for 5 years and he's great. And then also having the bonuses. We have monthly bonuses and quarterly bonuses, and how I structure those. It can be the sales, total sales, and total retention or churn every month that we have. And then the kind of quarterly bonuses are on growth of the club. So obviously how many growth we grow over the month and quarter, and they'll get bonuses on that as well. So, and I think it's just generally, checking in, seeing what they want. Sometimes they might want a new watch or whatever, and they really want to work towards getting a new Garmin watch or whatever. And okay, if this is what you want, let's set a target in place to say if we can hit this as the gym, we can have that reward in the end as well. So it's also not always about the money, or it might even be about, okay, well, if we get to the gym to a certain number, what's important to you, and it might be an RDO every month, so they have 12 RDOs for the year, or an extra holiday, whatever it is. So financially, depending on what you've got to know what your staff are driven by, and it might not be money, and we always think money because we're business owners, but it might not be money. So it's like, okay, cool, I know Jared, my manager here, he's taken a day off each month if he hits targets, etc. So, and they see that as more rewarding than anything.
Yeah, I like that. It's a good question, Michael. I'm the same. I like to pay over award wage. But to Cameron's point, things I just scribbled down, things that we paid in 2025 as little incentives or bonuses with things like running shoes. If someone's about to do the Gold Coast Marathon, they often value a good pair of runners. You're paying for High Rocks registrations, subsidizing precision nutrition courses, like accommodation at a hotel, and they take their partner out, and it's like, hey, that's the first time I've done that with my missus in 6 months or 12 months or something. I think
And
a
you get the
little bit
buy-in
goes
off
a
like
long way.
they're the simple things, and you get the buy-in. It's like, then the partner or the wife is like, oh, this is like, I love this for us. Like, this is creating memories that we have. Your workplace is supporting something outside of that, and it's also a great retention tool for your staff, and the buy-in from obviously the other half as well. Having happy staff or happy team members is crucial.
A good question, Michael. Let's change gears. I look at a business your size, 1,300 plus members. I'm assuming there's a lot of months where you need, 50 plus sales to come through the door. What types of things do you find effective in the last year or two in terms of like lead generation and getting inquiry?
Right now, I'd say our cheapest leads and the leads to get more leads. I'm not saying the quality of the leads is the elderly, the over 50s target market. I think if you can tap into that market, the leads are cheap. You do have to nurture those leads a little bit more, so it takes a little bit more time because older people are very cautious, etc. But in regards to lead generation, that is a great one and a great target market that people, probably don't attack as much as they can or they should, depending on your area. But also is like limiting the barrier for entry. I think is the biggest one, that we've seen. It's like, okay, well, if you can come in here and start for absolutely nothing, but your payments start the next day, it's a big one because they kind of want to, they're not sure or they want to reduce the risk of them not coming or coming. So it's either that or rewarding and say, hey, if you have to pay $100 joining fee or access card fee, if you come, 10 times the next 30 days, I'll give that back. Incentivizing attendance in the first 30 days is also been crucial. But I think to get people to the front door. But I do find this, I think, Steve, is interesting across the board is people see an offer and they'll see what they want and they'll click on that offer and they come to the front door and they actually don't know what they've clicked on or they don't know what they're there for. They actually forget
Yep.
about all the offer. It could
Yep.
be, the $4 for 4 weeks or $1 a week for whatever. All they've done is that's grab their attention and they could be in and next thing you know, they're signed up on a PT pack and paid full freight. Not saying you should jib the person coming in, but often people don't really associate what they've got, when they come in. It's just attracted them to get to the door in that point. So, yeah, I
Yeah.
think our biggest ones is, no joining fee if you want leads, but I also will look at, it's great to get leads and lots of leads, but also getting high quality leads and how that is attracted is different as well, because we're starting to look at now is, okay, well, what offer they're coming in on and how long they're staying for. Because if you're saying your first 30 days is free, those members only stay 4 months versus someone who comes in and, pays $50 to get started or $100 to get started and they're staying, 18 months, which ones you just target and not worry about the
Mm.
others. Yeah. It's
Yeah,
the confusing piece.
there's definitely some offers that attract a few more sort of tire kickers. I know I've spoken about with Rich over the years where easy in is sometimes easy out, and you find that sort of lower demographic will sometimes be your highest defaulters, and sometimes you haven't done yourself any favors because you sort of
Mm.
inflate temporarily. So I'm the same. I think removing barrier to entry, but that over 50s demographic are often forgotten. Like if you probably find them on Facebook more than Instagram. We connect with like our yacht club, people that are in their 50s and 60s refer people that are in their 50s and 60s.
Mm.
There's a tennis court around the corner. We're looking at what people in their 50s are actually doing outside of like exercise, and we're trying to market that way. I find if I chat to someone sort of in their 30s, they'll often give like a credit card over the phone. They'll book in for like a paid trial with a trainer or something. I find someone that's 60 doesn't feel as comfortable with that sort of online transaction still. And sometimes it's good just to get in front of them. Try not to automate too much. Try not to let your
Yeah.
AI sales agent sort of jump in front of someone in their 60s because it can be a little bit what would you say, daunting or off-putting?
Yeah, and just understanding their journey, like that's, if you get a lead, the next point of call for them is to, get them into the club to have a look around, to feel comfortable, or even just get them a video of what it's like in the club. If you've got
Yep.
some over 50s, people in the club, shoot a little video, and that's a good marketing tool so they feel comfortable and they get in. But you're right, someone in their 30s just wants to get started. Can they join online? They probably don't want to talk to you. Get them in, come in and do their own thing, which you've got to respect, and you've got to, change your tactics to suit that type of different demographic in that market.
Yeah, there's definitely a perception in our industry still that fitness people can be a bit pushy or can be, a bit salesy or American or sort of in their approach, a bit overzealous. And it's sad that's the case, but that's kind of the landscape we're in. And I think if you can call and ask genuine questions that show that you're interested in what they've done in the past and what they've sort of struggled with, I think you quickly differentiate. If the only thing you're trying to do is, hey, this is how much your joining fee is and this is how long your contract is, I do feel like you, unfortunately, start to group yourself with all the other sort of, brands that don't have a great reputation, and therefore you get prejudged. They don't even come through the door. They just sort of make a decision on the phone.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. It's like they're making that decision. They've got nothing to judge it off. They've just judged it off your tone and the information you've given them on the phone too. So yeah, you've
Good
got to.
question there. Michael's got a club with what's that? Within 300 meters to an over 55s like lifestyle community. How would you target that demographic? I would definitely jump in and say just print media. Like it definitely had a really, really low conversion rate pre-COVID where you'd print 10,000, 20,000 flyers and it was just like burning money. Something I noticed change, but Michael, is when people learnt to use QR codes, there was a little bit of a revival of print media because they didn't have to call you. They could actually just scan the thing and sort of go through to the phone number or the opt-in. But yeah, don't do anything generic. Like flyers are still dead. Look for some type of gift card, some type of letter, or something like that. Any other recommendations from yourself, Cameron, for over
Apart
55s?
Yeah, apart from that, the flyers, I mean, print's great for those guys, but I would go the other way. I'd go to them. I would say, guys, do you guys want to get together and we'll come down and do a little active lifestyles, class? We're going
Yep.
to run it for, let's say, every whatever time frame, get a time for
Yep.
maybe the community leader and say,
Yep.
oh, we'll come down, do it for free. You guys can come down for the next 3 weeks, 4 weeks. We'll do this for you.
Yep.
And then you're getting in front of them. They know the person, and then you're going to that. So I would probably try and go to them in regards to that.
Yeah.
So it saves them trying to come to you, go to them, get in front of 5, 10, 15 of them, because then once one or two come down, they're all going to talk and obviously say they refer each other.
Yeah, I think it's often easy to accommodate as well because it's outside of peak times. I think you could get down there at sort of 10 a.m. every Thursday for 4 weeks. Again, you don't need a 1 hour workout. It's just to kind of get them moving, thinking about mobility, balance, those types of things. But it's if they like it, there's a wonderful retention with that demographic as well, where they'll probably stick around for the next 20 years as well.
That's why I like that demographic at the moment too, is because of the retention. We've looked at our database and we just recognise this year like all the members who have been with us for 10 years plus, and I'll guarantee you 80% of them were 40 or 50 over. They've been around with us for so long, and that demographic was, the old 25-year-old or 28-year-old hasn't been with us for 10 years.
I think as well, Cameron, a lot of people like hiding in their offices or at home behind a keyboard. Um, I know some of the effort required, and you need a little bit of courage to sometimes go and approach a local business or to go to a retirement home or connect with a childcare center or something that maybe has your demographic. But the willingness to do it is definitely like halved. So the if you think about 10, 20 years ago before Instagram and everyone was throwing heaps of money at Google, a lot of people would get out and foot and actually talk to you, and you'd see them in uniform and they'd say hello and there'd be free classes. And because there's less people actually willing to do that now, it seems to cut through a lot of the fluff. Um, yeah, I think that's a great tip. Um, Cameron, you said before our call, we were chatting this morning, you mentioned that you've enlisted like a VA from offshore. We're the same in the Philippines. What sort of roles do you get your VA to help with?
Yeah, so they do all our kind of debt collection or people owed money.
Okay.
So we found it's been best and most effective if we send SMSs and emails to these guys.
Okay.
Calling was probably it was very time demanding, and we thought we just got the same response from that. Anyone who racks up a bit more than say $100 of debt, they get phone calls, etc. But all debt collection is done by them, and then we also get them to do kind of member onboarding. So touching base with members in their first 30, 60, 90 days and checking in with them. They don't do any calls. We just do all SMS and emails, but the VA will check in. If Steve, you've joined up in 2 weeks' time, they'll check all your attendance and then send you information, SMS and or email about, what, well done on Steve, you've been 4 times in the next 2 weeks. Maybe here's a little free recipe book, or here's a new program if you want it, or do you need any help, etc. that way. And we kind of use those markers of how much they've been. If they're a high user, we encourage it more and go that way. If they're a low user, it might prompt us to give them a call or saying, hey, do you need any help with that? We've seen you've only been in once since you've started. Is there any reason for that, and anything we can do? So we kind of use it for the member onboarding and also touching base with them on their journey in, because we know those first 30, 60 days are super crucial for how long they'll stay. But we also do it too. We have like a committed club. So the committed club is we have rewards for members who hit 50 sessions, who hit 150 sessions and 250 sessions. So like 50 sessions, once they're on that, we take a photo of them. They go up onto our committed club board, a board in the gym with their photo. They get a tote bag, which is something here, like a little tote bag. It's got $50 just branded. They get, I think,
Bragging rights.
bragging rights. They get a custom towel. It's like it says 100 Club on the Snap Fitness towel. So they get that. They get bragging rights. 250 is like a drink bottle, stainless steel drink bottle. So the VA does all that. So they just track all their visits and sends out the emails and SMSs congratulating, say, hey, you've joined the 100 Club. Come and pick up our little prize, or our little gift. Sorry, not a prize. And that's been great because it's great for community. You see all the members look at their own photo, but all the other members check it out. They want to be up on the board. Who doesn't want to be on the board or be recognised? So the VA does all that too.
I love the thought you've put into that sort of member journey. There's a varied sort of correspondence from someone that's using the facilities a lot versus someone that's not coming much. And it's that sort of soft, supportive encouragement for the one that hasn't been very often and like, how can I help? Versus, the fist bump and the tote bag and the stuff for the ones that are sort of crushing it. But it's often acknowledgement they won't get at other facilities. It's often a milestone that gets no recognition, even though they've probably come from another franchise brand or another gym, and they've just struggled to get into a routine and to actually like get value from it. So, I love that. Other stuff we spoke about this morning, like just looking at current technology, anything you're sort of looking at or testing at the moment?
Yeah, we are just testing a AI phone agent in regards to, for us, it's to, if we miss the phone call, they aren't making any calls, they're just receiving the phone call. So if the manager misses or the staff misses the call, the AI phone agent will pick up the call and just ask them, what their call is regarding. And just testing that at the moment. We've had some cool little scenarios where you can train the AI agent to, if they want to say membership pause or freeze, the AI agent can then text them, a form that we have for our membership pause and freeze, and they can fill that form out. And so it's another phone call that, doesn't have to be taken by the manager. The other one is like the debt. Like if, say, someone can't access the gym, because most common problem for us is they've probably got money owing. So if they talk about access, they don't have access to the gym. They say, well, we find one of the most common problems is, money owing, or do you have an outstanding payment on your account? Do you want one of the team to give you a contact call, or they'll go into the app and fix it up themselves, etc. So, yeah, it's just trying to use the AI agent as a glorified voicemail. And then so we can then obviously take time away from the manager to make important, calls for new leads and prospecting and sales calls, more so than if someone wanted to find out about a boxing class that's a week away, or someone who wanted a receipt for their last year's payments that can be done in the afternoon and not at 9:30 on a Monday morning when it's super busy.
Yeah, it's something I'm curious about. I was saying that ironically, we're testing it this week as well, largely for overflow. Like we don't actually want to answer the phone on Sunday, but we probably get the most number of inquiries on a Sunday when people wake up sort of hungover or eaten too much. They generally inquire at the gym. We don't really want to answer the phone at 9 o'clock at night. We want our trainers to have some life. So we're just testing it in that sort of fashion. I think what's exciting is just how fast it's actually getting better, how we're able to sort of tailor it to an Australian or a New Zealand accent, how we're able to just let it play a piece in the puzzle where there's heaps of like answers available that you can sort of feed into it, and it just keeps learning. So you can give it your opening hours, your group training timetables. You can, you can just listen to the recording or even the transcript and go, oh, we could probably fix that. And you got to sort of give it a little bit of direction, and it does actually get better, and it learns a lot faster than my staff do. So
It's the wild thing that we've got to think about too, is like, once it's done it once, it can, it learns it full stop. It's like we read a book and I learn it, then I give you the book, Steve, and you learn it. But AI and this can learn it like that and then across the board, and it just continues to do the same thing once it's learned it. So yeah, I think it is. It's a tool that we need to probably embrace in regards to, how it can help us. It's never going to, because we're service-based business, it's never going to take over. But it's like, okay, what can we do to, make it a lot easier? And also a call on Sunday, it gets half its questions answers, and then the team know what they're calling about first thing Monday morning. Say, hey, you mentioned this, great, I've got a spot this afternoon, would you like to come in? So it kind of fast tracks the process for you as well.
Yeah, I jumped on one. I was actually trying to book in something my son was interested in doing, and was able to sort of ask what I actually needed, send me through a link while I was on the call, and yeah, I can see it forming part of that sort of fitness service-based thing, taking a bit of the admin off. And I thought probably relevant to chat about. You said you've got some onboarding stuff that your VAs can help with. There's opportunity, I think, in the next 12 months for us to look at, is there any AI that can potentially assist as well? Not to replace a manager, but to perhaps take a little bit of workload off their desk, perhaps take the need to answer the phones Saturday night, because that there's never much work-life balance, is there, if they're doing everything every day? So,
No, and I think I look at the role of what the manager is and what is their time best spent doing, and it's probably sales, marketing, and getting to know members and retention within the gym, engaging with the members and taking 1,000 calls or doing admin sort of tasks. Can I take that away from them, a little bit at a time to kind of make their job more enjoyable, but also more productive and income producing in regards to chatting to people who want to join the gym, chatting to members
mm.
on the gym floor. So yeah, I think it's a key piece. I think if I can, let them happy, take stuff away from them, it's a good thing.
And like looping it back in, it's not contradictory to what we spoke about before. Like one of the things that sets you apart from a 24-hour gym that gets maybe plateaus at 500 members is there are the one percenters, the things that you do with your members that show that you care and you sort of help them out. And the last thing we're trying to do is remove service. Otherwise, everyone's going to struggle to sort of get past break even. But it's yeah, if you can supplement and actually remove some of just the admin and stuff, I think it's pretty exciting.
Mm.
Couple of quick questions. Richard Mears is there. Active Fitness. Do you incorporate fitness passport? How many staff do you want? A couple of quick fire questions.
Yeah, fitness passport's a funny one. Everyone has their opinion. We do have it here. It's pros and cons of both. If I had my time again, I probably wouldn't. Just because you want good quality members who want to pay, be your members and pay you. I mean, for us, it works well, and it works really, really well because, we get a good chunk of money. But, it does, yeah, it does change the vibe of the gym as well. So, do you want ones who want to pay a cheap membership and go to the whole thing? I do, yeah. For me, the fitness passport's a funny one. I would, if I was to do it at another club again, I wouldn't do it. We had it, and it's great in this area and strong. Does it work for us? It does. But would I recommend anyone to do it? No.
How many staff have you got with your current memberships?
We're
1350?
Yeah, we're a team of seven. So I've got three. So there's Jared and a assistant or a part-time casual there, and then the four PTs and myself. So I don't really do anything front of house. I do everything back. I'll kind of be a handyman, etc.
Yep.
But yeah, that's the team that we have at the moment is a team of seven.
Jess is
That's
at
including
Snap in
myself.
Orange. How many fitness passport members do you have?
We limit it around 300.
Okay.
Yeah, so we even tell them now if they don't come to the gym, they don't come to the gym, they'll lose their access and they'll go back onto a waiting list. Um,
And you
yeah,
limit to 300 so that you haven't filled the entire facility with fitness passport and
and
taking away from the members.
the members, yep, yep. So
Okay.
they can have, and then because if you've got good fitness passport people, it works really well. But if you've got people who sign up and you don't see them, you get nothing from them, and yeah, it's just
Yep.
inflating your numbers. It's not true, and yeah, so we kind of
Yep.
limit that way.
Sort of false economy.
Yep,
Cameron, looking back over your years, you've obviously had some wins and some hits like along the way. We all got smashed a bit during COVID.
yep.
Is there one thing you know now in business that you wish you knew at the start?
Yes, I would be not afraid to have higher prices or raise your prices or continually increase your prices.
Yeah.
I think we're always scared of, you've got a gym membership base, right? It's a membership base. Do I put up the members? No, I'll put up just the new ones, not everyone else's. So you get a big disparity. But, now we're literally, give or take like that in regards to the weekly rate and charging more for the services. If you guys believe you have a good service, charge more for it. And I think we probably don't do that enough. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I've owned a gym for two gyms for 16 years. I think there was 1 year during COVID we didn't put up the prices. I just think you're going to quickly force yourself out of the market if you're not in a position to go with the rent increase, the wage increase, the insurance increase. You quickly find that there's no money left at the end of the month to um, pay a manager to keep your equipment maintained and to actually enjoy a bit of a lifestyle from it. So yeah, deliver a good enough service to charge what you want is what I agree with.
Yeah. Yeah.
So good.
Raise your prices.
Quick reminder, we've got a few Gym Hub members on the call. If it's your first time as a visitor, welcome. I hope you found it useful. Again, my name's Steve Grant. I'm a studio owner in Sydney, but also a mentor for a bunch of gym owners in Australia and New Zealand. If you found it useful, if you're stuck or perhaps you're after a bit of help in how you can sort of grow your business this year, send me a DM. I'll be more than happy to have a bit of a chat. But Cameron, this has been fantastic. I feel like we could chat forever.
We continue on.
You're a legend. I was thinking about, you said, I'm not sure what I would do afterwards, and I'm thinking like urban surf franchise or something like
Yeah,
that.
I have looked at it once I went. It was like, it's about 20 mil, I think, to go a pool, 20 or 30 mil.
My
So,
son, he's in year 12, he wants to be an engineer, and I'm like, go and build wave pools.
yeah,
Not,
yeah,
not, not to make money, just because I thought it'd be fun.
it would be great. It would be great. Yeah, something like that.
You're getting plenty of raps there in the chat. Thanks, guys, for your positive feedback. And there will be a recording. I'm going to pop this onto YouTube. If you had to come in late or you missed anything, be sure to check out the link there. Again, Cameron, thank you so much for your time. You're a legend.
Pleasure. Thanks, Steve.
Thanks, mate.
Thanks,
Enjoy
guys.
your day. Bye.